Guru Nation, welcome back. This is a podcast. The last one I'm going to do before Save Our Sites in San Diego. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. Save Our Sites, we are oversold.
Oh, cool.
It's our third year. It's going to be our biggest one by far. We're expecting 500 people.
Wow.
Maybe slightly more. And Monica gave me the idea. She's like, you know what? DSCS not doing anything like promotional. So why don't you make a t-shirt? And I said, don't worry, Monica, I got this. You know, I think I broke it down. We need one for the PI. We need one for the sub-I. And we need extras for the coordinators. So Jaime is wearing the sub-I one. The sub-I said it was fine. Okay. And on the back, this is what we have. DSCS. It commemorates. It's like a concert. Commemorates San Diego, Guru Nation, SOS 2026. So that's the sub-I one. The back's the same for all of them. The PI one is also safe, but kind of cool. Trust me, I'm a PI. Or trust me, I'm the PI. We'll give this to Smith today. I can go there too if you want me to go up to par. And then the one I'm most proud of is the study coordinators. We would never backdate, but it says today's date is fine. And, you know, with eSource, of course, you cannot change dates. So, as a famous site owner who shall remain nameless said to an auditor, if I wanted to backdate, I would use paper. He told the auditor. So eSource is
the FDA auditor at that.
No, that wasn't the FDA. Today's date is fine. Right? And they're going to go fast. Like, you better get there. If you're coming to SOS, well, if you're watching this, yeah, you will be watching this when the video releases before SOS. Okay, if you're watching after, they're probably all gone. But if you want them to come back by popular demand, we'll put them on the YouTube. Right? So I'm going to try to put this on here without dropping the mic. Daniel, I apologize in advance, man. It's expensive. I'm not worried to make the employees jealous. And no, they don't get any. Unless they get their... I only told one of them I got her because she asked. You know who it is. She said, I want that one. And I said, okay, I got you. Got your size. But the rest, you guys got to earn it like everyone else. So you're on a panel.
That's right.
How many practices did you guys do?
We did three. I missed the first one.
What is the panel?
It's de-escalation.
De-escalation.
Yeah.
And who's running that panel?
It's actually gonna be it's called problem escalation.
Oh, problem escalation. Okay.
It's
that'll be the topic of this podcast.
Yeah, it's Ashley. Well, in the panel, Ashley will be like coordinating everything, and then Brad is within the panel. Like,
he's actually on it.
He's on the panel.
Okay.
And Maria, it's the first time I seen her. Maria Ladd, Ladd.
I know the name.
She I think she was initially part of the panel, but by the way the preps were going, Ashley, it was like, you know what, Maria, why don't you run the panel? Like,
Ashley is
a
beast, man.
She catched that, and she's like, Ashley asked her to like be like the moderator, if you will.
Yeah.
And then Ashley will be like more in the back scene, coordinating everything, making sure like the polls is gonna be.
As a sidebar, every company needs an Ashley.
Yeah.
That girl is something else.
She's awesome. and so she'll be like, because we'll have some polls, and it's gonna be, it'll be cool, you know. I like what you guys do. That it's more for the sites, not so much for the sponsors or CROs, but it's having them in mind too. Yeah. It's for them, but it's for the sites, in a little bit more heavy way, if you will.
Well,
from what I see.
Yeah, and the reason for that, it's not that. I mean, it's not like it's cool. it feels like it's cool to be site centric today, and that's part of our success. Is we are the most site focused conference organization.
Yeah.
And like legitimately, like we're not owned by private equity.
Yeah.
We're not designed to just rake in money.
Yeah. You're
Like some of all the other conferences actually.
yeah. Yeah.
Like we're not a business first. We're an organization first. A business is like
Yeah.
by necessity. Okay, we can't lose money every year. Last year we lost.
Yeah.
This year we started making back, and so look like we're turning the corner. But the reason site centricity is popular right now is because we are the bottleneck. Like sponsors cannot progress further. We talked about this in our last podcast. Lilly CEO was on, and he said it's not money is not the issue. Like we have way more studies we want to do. We have money.
They got plenty.
You know, it's not technology. We have the cutting edge stuff.
Yeah.
It's the sites. You know, there's a limited resource. The scarcity is us, and we're also the what's keeping it slower. Like when we take long to enroll patients, when we say we're going to enroll 10 in a year, and we actually enroll 8, and it took us a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then everyone does the same thing.
But the thing is, we as site owners, site managers, whomever that accepts the study as a PI too, we want the study, right? And sometimes the expectations from the study team, it's understandable. They're spending a lot of money on each one
Like
of
$3
these
million
studies.
a day.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. So they need to make it the most efficient possible, right? Like just last week, we had a call. Both of us were in there, and this new study, it's very particular on the inclusion and exclusion. When I heard the study, I was like, that sounds like a very nice one. Sounds like an easy one. And then when we were on the call and I learned about all the inclusion and exclusion, I'm like, oh, okay. And then we at YCT, we try not to be like take advantage of the sponsor or the CRO, meaning we don't screen just for screening. Like there's been in this last year or so multiple patients, actually more patients that they come to the office and our pre-screening, we don't even register them.
Right.
Because we know from the get-go, this patient's not gonna qualify.
And I get pissed when that happens because
Yeah.
that's a lost revenue right there. But I know why we do
And
it.
we invested time. We block the time, we block our coordinators on that particular patient that didn't disclose they were on an exclusionary med.
Yeah.
And then we know from the get-go they're not gonna. They said, I have this condition or whatever the condition we're looking for, and then when they walk in, there's like, I think I do, but I don't have records or stuff like that, right? So we don't even register. We don't take credit for it. Actually, one of the sponsors just recently, they were like, well, so you guys are not screening? I was like, we screen quite a bit. We're just not even registering because they don't qualify. They even asked for all those pre-screenings because we're gonna get paid for those.
Really?
Yeah. It's
I know which one. The one that we haven't enrolled anyway.
Yeah, because there was like, what's
So
going
who's
on?
doing that? Who's getting?
I think Daniela's taking care of that. So they asked for those pre-screening because we get compensated for them. I was like, okay, good to know, because most budgets will not have like the pre-screening, or it'll be already included, not individual, right? So we want to get the study, but the studies, they have their challenges, like everything, right? Of
course.
So in this particular one, the expectation was like, I think 10 patients to be enrolled a month, right? And
The one where they have to pay for their own drug?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like those.
So the patient has to pay for their own drug, a very expensive one, or through insurance.
But they're given a device for free.
They're given the device for free, but the criteria, you have to catch them before they start the drug, and they have to be uncontrolled. So
who would be good for that would be our friend. I just thought of it now, Lindsay.
Lindsay will be good, but
those patients are paying for their own.
no.
Oh yeah, no compound.
No compound. Yeah.
That's
so,
true.
So that's the thing. Though that
Yeah.
that particular protocol, I think it's perfect for an endocrinologist because they're the ones that starts most of the patients on these
Yeah,
medications. You know. So anyway, so I when I told them the number that I think is realistic that we can enroll, they were like, oh, they were looking for double the number of enrollments. So I'm like, well, let me touch base back with our PI and on all their providers. They have like 10, and to see if I mean, and we're gonna be honest, we don't want to
Did
burn
you
a
ask
bridge.
him already?
Not yet. I'm going to after here,
Okay, well you give him the
and I'll
t-shirt
give him
then.
the shirt.
Hopefully he's there.
Yeah. So that's the problem, you know. We many times we overpromise a site
Yeah.
and underdeliver.
But is that coming up in your panel? So
That panel in particular, when initially I heard the name, I thought it was something different. It's actually the panel. It's very interesting. It's how you escalate a problem through the CRO or through the sponsor.
okay.
So let's say it has not happened to us, but one scenario could be where the monitor or they think it's a SAE and the PI doesn't think it's an SAE, and then it's getting nowhere. How do you escalate it to resolve it? Whether you know, or a budget issue. You know, you. They
Well,
want
that's
you
where the sub-buy said it was okay.
they say they want you to do something that you're not being compensated for, and then but it's like getting nowhere. Like how to escalate that, or they're asking you to do something that it's outside the budget or the contract, if you will. Or let's say the monitor, it's not being responsive. It's giving unrealistic expectations. You know, Friday mornings, like, hey, I need you to do these 50 things before the end of the day today.
We had a CRA like that.
Yeah. So it's like how to escalate that. So that's kind of the.
Well, you're perfect for that one because you've done those things.
we
I
had a
thought it was
couple-
de-escalating probably.
Yeah, me too, or escalating, but I thought it was more within the site.
Yeah.
But this particular workshop is mainly for site owners or site directors, because at the end of the day, if something's going to be escalated up, it will be through the site owner, site
So
director.
it's you, Brad, and Maria.
And then Chanton.
Oh, Chintan.
Chintan,
He's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, he's very cool. So Maria,
So it's you, all site owners.
yeah, I think Maria is not.
Okay,
I'm not sure, but that's what Ashley said. Maria, can you like moderate it, because
I see.
Brad, Chanton, and myself were site owners.
I see.
And that way she's not, and then she has,
yeah.
you know, she's very cool
So
too.
you got to know Chintan,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
the foreign doctor.
Oh,
and his
for
wife
real?
is as well.
Okay.
And they're both the coordinators. And I interviewed them last year.
Oh yeah, they're very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Brad, of course, you know, Ashley, and then Maria. She's very knowledgeable too.
Okay.
I think it's a good panel. They will be limiting the participants on that one part in particular. Now that you said you guys are oversold, I want to
We
say they
are
say
oversold, yeah.
between 100 and 150 for that workshop only. So it's like first
Give me
come, first
standing
serve.
room only.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm not on that panel, but you guys can go both directions with it, because you can go, you know, how to de-escalate an issue. And ultimately it's like how to communicate with a sponsor. And we can talk about that a little. But the reason I was asking is because, like, site-centric, it's cool to be site-centric now as a sponsor, but that's only because they need us. Like, they don't care, honestly. We talked about it last time, to be site-centric. It's just because they recognize sponsors, in order to get their data, they need us, and they need more like us. And it's in their best interest to work with us, and they're seeing that the CROs are having their own incentives, maybe not as perfectly aligned as the sponsors with us, because CROs are their own business.
Yeah.
So the sponsors decide, you know what? Let's make this push for engaging with sites. This is why SOS has sponsored. We have
Yeah.
3 or 4 big pharma official sponsors.
I saw it. I was like, nice.
I'm on a panel with sponsors where that panel is about what makes a dream site for a sponsor. We have GSK, we have Takeda on that one.
Nice.
And Robert Goldman on that. He's the small sponsor representative. And like what makes to them a dream site.
Yeah.
And then what can we do as site owners when we go back Monday without spending more money or hiring someone else? What can we do to make ourselves slightly better in the eyes of a sponsor? That's the goal of that panel.
Yeah.
But like all these topics are for sponsors to get their studies, the data more efficiently. And that's the bottom line for the entire conference.
For the entire industry.
And the sponsor don't mind that the site owners run better businesses, make more profits. They don't mind. They have money. They're giving the CROs and all these tech vendors that sponsor a percentage of the money. But really, if they can give all of it to the sites and the sites are able to do it all, they would. But they can't. So they have vendors. They have, all these other stakeholders. But really, it's between the sponsors, sites, and the patient. That's all it is.
Yeah, they just have to get more middlemen involved to make it happen.
Yeah.
But
well, and the middlemen kind of brainwashed the industry very well. Like, well, these sites are fragmented. They're not technology companies. They don't know what they're doing. If it was just up to them, they'd still be using paper everywhere.
Yeah.
Look, give us a piece of that pie. And then they all
piece of that, huh?
A good piece of that. Yeah. Actually, majority of R&D revenue is on tech vendors.
Yeah. But I noticed when the sponsor runs the study, it tends to be more involved. The
generally better.
The monitor, the whomever that it's in contact with the site, it's way more aware of the study. Than when you use, and nothing against CROs, because we mainly use CROs, right? But I noticed when the sponsor is the one running the show, it flows different.
Yes,
it flows different. But in the other hand, it's their baby.
But it has to be a sponsor that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, that too.
Because sometimes these small ones, they want to be involved, but they don't actually know what they're doing.
Got it.
It causes problem. Like we had one. And that one actually is unique because I think they are competent, but they're still not running it as efficiently as
it could be.
A big pharma would be when they're very much involved. Or the big pharma hires a CRO, but like our CRO for that study that I won't mention with the big pharma that you say is good, that CRA works for a CRO.
Yeah.
But his email ends with the sponsor because they are the functional service provider model. So they basically are like rented for that sponsor only. So that sponsor pays extra. So some of the best monitors don't work on other studies.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, the turnover of the monitor. Like we have a study where the monitor got moved or promoted, maybe. I don't know what happened. We don't get the details. We get a new monitor, and then it's like a little. You have to let things settle, or the new monitor, acclimated to the study, to the site, and that turnaround, like in the site too, when our coordinators leave, it takes some time. So I think when it's the sponsor that does it, or it's more involved in the way, or there's no turnover at that, it just runs better. So yeah, it's very interesting, this particular this particular workshop, because it's how you move things up. And I am in a unique situation, I would say, because of you. You've been in the industry for a long time. You are the ones that usually does the escalation.
Yeah.
And
but you've been doing a lot of it lately.
Yeah, a little bit more. And that's one of the things I brought up to the panel. Is like, hey, you know what? Sometimes even if we're site owners, we don't feel comfortable. We feel the fear of retaliation, the fear of being labeled like difficult
Yeah.
or being put on a blacklist, you know. And then and that's a real thing.
Well, I
That's a real
was
thing.
labeled that. Like, if you remember one of our first studies that was very difficult with a lot of labs.
Yeah, yeah,
And there was very weird x-ray requirements.
yeah. I remember.
And I would be escalating a lot to the sponsor and directly because the CRO and the vendors wouldn't really
Yeah,
get involved, and we would have patients being out of window. So I would like start arguing with the sponsor, like, hey, and I actually found the emails from LinkedIn of their top executives.
I remember.
And I just emailed all of them, and like 3 of them replied from the 7 I messaged, like, "Oh no, give me more details," and you know.
I'll make
So I thought it was good for that study because we got the issues escalated, we got more or less the problems resolved. But if I look back now, so we got revenue from the randomized patients, which we wouldn't have got otherwise. And they let us get away with things that we were not able to do based on their requirements because they're very picky vendors. And in an underserved town, you don't have all those capabilities.
Yeah.
So they let us get away with it. But they have another study, we weren't invited, even though they said they would. And I think that's because the CRO didn't like that I was a problem, because I really was a problem. But I wasn't for good reason. The patients I was not going to watch them waste their time, and I was not going to watch us waste all our time and not get paid.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're talking again about the middleman, right? The middleman creates a product that wants to sell and get money from, right?
Yeah.
So why not just get a simple X-ray rather than have this complicated?
Remember, I argued with
devices.
the founder of that company.
Yeah, and
I said, I respect your science, but I don't understand why. I forgot even the real issue, but it was something
it was
stupid.
a device. It was a device.
Yeah, but it was something stupid.
It wasn't a device to use. I'm like, man, like orthopedics doctors have been diagnosing arthritis for decades with simple X-rays. You don't need this device to do it. Now, it's better to do it with it, but maybe yes.
Well, but that was a small sponsor.
Yeah.
So it shows you that, okay, I escalated the way I thought was appropriate. It turns out it worked. But long term, I think it hurt us because we didn't get the study. And now I don't know if it hurt us because of me speaking up or because they didn't think our imaging vendors were up to par. But they didn't even give us the chance. Like, we could have driven them to Phoenix. We have another vendor now.
Yeah.
With Scout, one of our SOS sponsors, Scout, would have traveled, driven them. And
yeah.
so that tells me the small sponsors still relied on the CRO for those things.
Yeah.
And okay, well, let's just not use that site in Yuma because the owner is loud.
Yeah, and they don't like that, and I mean I get it, and that's the purpose of the workshop is how to escalate without having the retaliation or at least the fear of it, or how to do it in a way that doesn't produces that. It gives some templates in there and some ideas, some examples. I like it. I actually like it.
I think it's needed. I mean, I could have used that advice, 3 years ago. But would I have done anything differently? Probably not. I mean, I get emotional. I got mad. These people were being ridiculous. I think it was the imaging vendor. Was one of the issues. Another issue was the labs, where you needed like permits to Canada, and then another. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, I remember.
I spoke up about that. I spoke up about everything on that study. That was when I was still very much involved. I don't speak up anymore because I'll be honest, I don't know what's going on half the time, but I think the studies are not that difficult like that one.
No,
They-
those this is probably the most difficult labs that we ever gotten.
That one was ridiculous.
That's definitely by far, by far.
But also the special device and then all these angles that nobody was going to do. I mean, we had to jump through hoops to get like four people, four people randomized.
Yeah, and I think the I think we did overall good.
The sponsor liked us, but the CRO was like, it's better. They probably thought it's too much of a trouble.
Yeah, and because we enrolled enough patients, we made the amount we said we were gonna enroll. I think we got them enrolled.
Yeah.
We gave them good data. Maybe the quality of the image wasn't good enough, but they still rate.
We had a few issues on the unblinded stuff, but nothing crazy. Like some sites had like dosing errors. We didn't have dosing error. We had some documentation issues that we fixed. So nothing crazy. So I'm pretty sure. And when we talked, you and I both talked to that sponsor after the study.
Yeah.
And they said they would be happy to have us back. So I think the CRO just blocked it and said,
Maybe we could have gone through the sponsor again to be selected.
I mean, I can now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
you know.
maybe.
I'll go back today and do it. But I saw somewhere, because I'm in stocks now, like that particular stock, the study's nearing completion for the new. So we missed it like, I don't know, a year and a half ago.
Yeah. We could have this podcast a year and a half ago.
Yeah. I'll reach out though. I mean, who knows? Maybe
there's another phase. Yeah, it's interesting. I always wonder, and I think I asked this before, and the answer was yes, but we don't know. Maybe could be if you don't do well with one sponsor or one CRO, if you're put in a list that it's available to everybody, like all the sponsors or all the other CROs, to like do not work with this side for X reason, or this side did bad or whatnot.
no. So I used to think that was the case too. I actually confirmed. I basically confirmed on our what is a dream site panel.
Oh, okay.
That
That's true.
Even internally, so forget about this company shares with another one. Even inside their own company, they don't share with other departments.
Oh.
So like if you are running derm and you're running oncology and it's the same site, maybe they have a bunch of specialists. They don't even share amongst each other.
Oh.
Not because they don't want to, but there's just no formal process to do it. And so then everybody, and when they tried a formal process, they tried like a red light, yellow light, green light. It was only as basic as, was this PI audited by the FDA and what was the outcome? Like it was nothing sophisticated. And even that, they said they stopped it because when that company ran out of funding for that particular program, they never updated it. And so they had all these red light investigator that was years old, that was not even relevant anymore because they remedied those issues. And then they had FDA audits with the green lights, but they never changed their status. So it was like wasting everyone's time.
Wow.
So they don't even do it internally.
Okay.
Never mind externally. And then you talk about CROs, they're competitors. So they don't want to share. If anything, they would mislead them with, hey, this is a good site.
Very true. Give them the green.
So they don't really do that. Okay. What they do is like the CROs do keep a list for themselves. But they don't share with the sponsors. But like for sure, when I was vocal, when I escalated, they categorized us as maybe a yellow, and it's not worth the
difficult side.
Yeah, maybe it was probably not red, but it was yellow because like this guy's loud, and at the end of the day, they only give us 4 patients. Like it's not a headache we wanna. He argued with every vendor and the founder of this device. Like he's just not. It's not worth for 4 patients.
Got it.
That's probably what, if I had to guess. And if I would have been quiet, maybe we would have only randomized 1.
Yeah.
And we would have maybe even then not been given another chance because we only randomized 1.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have escalated it and got paid and got patients in and worry about that later than not do something.
Yeah.
And I think that's the lesson. As long as you're not a jerk and you're not.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a jerk. I wasn't too much of a jerk until they started like
I don't think you were
arguing
a jerk at all.
back. Maybe it wasn't like irrational, but I would be not kissing the ass of some vendor just because he's the inventor of something. I told him it's not necessary, and you're making sites in underserved communities do things they can't do. Like this, how can we get water out of this rock? You know, like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you guys insist on using this and these angles, and yeah, but that was my example of escalating, and generally it works out well, and that one worked out well too. We didn't get the new study. Do we really want that study is another question. Like,
All the labs,
it was not changed. They weren't going to change much. They said they were going to fix the labs, but the drug itself is not. They found a dose,
yeah, I think that's what.
so it would have been easier because you don't have to change the dose, in the middle of the study like we had to. But ultimately, it's like, did you actually see progress? I didn't see progress
on the
that.
patients themselves, I think it worked. Not as good as the other one.
Nah,
for
yeah,
same
the other one
indication.
was. Yeah.
I mean, the other one. It was,
Maybe that's why I thought it was not good because I was comparing it to. the other.
Yes. Not as good. Not even
Yeah.
close. But it worked. I think it worked enough.
Okay. I mean, the labs were crazy.
Yeah.
You needed like a full-time person just for those labs.
Yeah.
And shout out to the one that did work with us because she took over the labs and you didn't have to worry about that anymore.
We were lucky she had a lab experience.
Yeah, for all that didn't work well with her, she took over that and I didn't have to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Like that was great.
Yeah, I remember.
That was great. And she wanted to do it too. It's like, okay, you got this.
Yeah. So now, I know that was one escalation, but part of my thought process is like, what can we do to prevent the need to escalate? To prevent it go all the way to the owner of the company, right? And so that's one of the things that we'll touch at the end. We'll touch on it. It's like what things that we can do to prevent, and many times it's just communication. I mean, on this particular vendor, it's kind of
we needed and we ran into this issue with another sponsor that we did not want to lose the study.
Yeah.
So we had to find a better vendor.
Yep.
And ultimately, what went wrong is we tried to force it with a vendor that was not capable.
Yep.
So we don't lose the study. And when on another study, we respected that sponsor too much to try to do that. And we probably learned from our mistakes too.
Yeah.
And so we said, listen, we're going to drive them further out to a more competent vendor who charge like 10 times more. I mean, as bad as our vendor was here in Yuma, they didn't even charge us.
The price is like
They charge us like for 2 people instead of 30.
well, that's
They didn't even bill us. A few patients got bills in the mail and I paid them. Yeah, I told them if you get a bill in the mail, bring it to me. They're not supposed to bill you, but they're not competent in that regard.
Yeah.
But like we almost got a free vendor and I was still over there arguing with them like, hey.
That was a problem. I think that the problem here is the vendor. If we were to have our own, and we talked about this before, right? Our own X-ray, our own ultrasound, or our own MRI or CT, where we have more control. We had an MRI tech that works for one of our PIs, a former PI, and he was more than willing to do it, but his machine was not capable of doing what they wanted.
Well, we still have him as a contact.
Yeah, we still can use him for.
We're still on speaking terms with the PI that retired.
Of course.
But
Yeah. So.
Yeah, controlling the vendor is big. And I think the more complex these studies get, like I actually think your guys' panel is important because you're going to need to do more of that escalation.
Yeah.
Like even in this study that you brought up that we may or may not do, there's going to be escalations. Like, hey, this drug is expensive. That you guys want the patient to pay for it, but you're going to help. How do we streamline that? Because
I think that they're able to help with like co-pays and stuff.
they're help, but like, what's the terms? Like, when do you pay us back? Like, we would have to pay for the patient drugs immediately.
Upfront, yeah.
You know, and like, when are we going to get it back? Do we have to fight you guys for it? Probably not. But like, what's the process?
It's a very good sponsor.
Yeah.
It's a very good sponsor. So, I mean, and again, I'd rather not get the study and be honest up front and be like, you know what, unfortunately, this is what we can probably give you. We commit to work on it hard and do our best. But unfortunately, the expectation of X amount of patients, we can't make it.
And let's see the budget.
That too.
Because if the budget's great, we'll make it work. If the budget's subpar,
or we'll, you know, put more resources into it, right?
Yeah.
I
mean, we can find a pharmacy that would work with us or a GLP. Like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But if the budget's subpar, what's the point? Why even bother with this?
Yeah. So
escalation. One of the things, maybe you haven't had the panel yet, so you could bring it up. Escalation is not free. Like, I know you're not paying anything when you complain to a sponsor or bring something up, or I do, but it takes your time. Yeah. In my case, it took my energy. Like, after I went through a rant with one of the study people, I didn't want to do anything for like an hour.
Yeah.
I went to go get something to eat and just calm down because
peace of mind.
Yeah, so you're wasting not just the time you're doing it, but you have to recover afterwards. Like, okay, I need to get in a different mental space. Or how are you going to do a podcast right after that? Like, maybe it's a good one after all, but it's not free to escalate.
Sure.
And it costs you something, whether it's time, whether it's your energy.
Oh, time for sure. And energy, and then that's a thing. You don't want to be emotional when you're escalating.
Yeah,
but
it's hard for me to do.
Hard to take away the emotion.
You're much better at that than me. You don't get
I don't know,
too emotional.
I don't know. I kind of learned to like calm down before I talk.
I don't get emotional with employees. I don't mind getting emotional with vendors, sponsors.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just separate. I look at employees like I have to be an example, and then with vendors, it's like I don't care. Yeah, more or less.
Be the Papa Bear here.
Basically.
Yeah.
You have to deal with the employees the rest of the time they're there. Like, you don't want them to lose respect for you because they see that you're getting emotional. But with the vendors and sponsor, I don't care. I'd actually prefer that they're a little bit afraid of like pushing back. But then that has consequences too, because you might get passed by on other studies unless you have a really good contact at the sponsor, which we do with like one of them now, maybe two. And my other sites I had similar, like no matter what I did, we would get a study back. So you can kind of argue more, push back more.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you like do fraud, you're not going to get invited
of course,
back. But you can push back as much as you want, and the sponsor is going to keep working with you. But then you have most where they don't care. Like, if you're going to be too much of a problem,
then that's it.
I don't need the site in Yuma. We'll go to Killeen, Texas instead. How about that?
How about that? Go to LA or
we go anywhere. It doesn't to them. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, Yuma's nice. Okay, it's diverse. There's no other sites. Cool. But like, then this guy's giving you issues, and let's just pass. Let's go somewhere else. Yeah. It's just human. I would do the same thing. Yeah. Why waste your time? So I don't mind them. But like, you've been involved with certain escalations as a sub-I. Sub-I said it's okay. In your case, it actually should be the opposite. Sub-Bi said it's not okay.
Screen fail.
Heim is one of the most conservative sub-Bis out there. Usually it's the PI is conservative and the sub-Bi is like, let's try to find a way. But you're the opposite, which is good because it balances me. But when you bring up something to a sponsor, which you have already a few times, generally it's like medical stuff.
Yeah.
Occasionally it's been like query stuff, but usually it's medical stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't have an issue.
No.
And they don't have issues with you.
I don't think they do. Actually, the ones that I bring up more, they keep on giving studies.
Yeah.
They just gave us one.
And that CRA said, I think Jaime, when we were super busy 2 years ago, he was like, no other site calls me as much as Jaime for asking me certain things.
Well, I mean, we want to make sure, right? One time I got on the, what was it called, database lock?
Yeah, database lock.
At the end,
yeah.
right? We got a big old like query saying, "Oh, this patient should never have been randomized because it was an exclusionary medication," and I was like, "Oh," and so it got to me, and then I remember the case specifically. I'm like, "Nope. Let's look into it." So obviously, it's not documented. It's not done, right? We go back to it, and I think what happened, it wasn't the monitor doing this. It wasn't our monitor. It was whomever that was doing the database lock.
The data manager.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so I'm like, no, this is wrong. And obviously, they only saw the medication. They didn't take the time to look at the stop date. They didn't take the time to look through the notes because everything was documented. That patient, yes, it was an exclusionary medication. There's another medication that does the exact same thing, well, similar effect, and patient stopped that one, was put on the new one because the patient wanted to be part of the study, and it was medically safe to do it. And the patient was not taking that medication. The time had passed that it needed to pass and whatnot. So I was like, no. So I reply, and I didn't need to escalate that one. I mean, I would have if I needed to, but the whomever the query that was like, oh yeah, I can see all of that, and didn't do any more. But part of what I was saying a little bit ago is, what can we do to prevent the need to escalate?
Yeah,
it's just that, like, be one of the things is from the start of the study or from the start of the visit of the patient, just try to follow that protocol, and that's why I do a lot of emails.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is a little gray. This is similar.
That's probably the best.
And I think that will save you a headache later on.
But you have to we have some good coordinators now. Actually, the ones that are still here.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about too much. The ones that weren't, we kind of move them into other roles. But the ones that are doing day-to-day coordinating stuff, we don't have to worry too much, but it's still a matter of training them.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it all the time, and you have to kind of transmit your brain into them to think like you. And that's part of being a site owner, is how to get the staff to act more like you when it's appropriate. It's not always going to be appropriate to act like the owner, but when it is and it benefits the company, they need to. And they need to learn without asking for permission when it's okay and when it's not. So like you said, like you brought up, how do you prevent the need for escalate? How do you foresee? Is that coming on? For those not able to go to SOS, is that going to be on the panel?
Yeah. That's some of the
Whose idea was that one? Chintan?
To like how to prevent? No, mine.
That's yours. They probably loved that, huh?
And I just brought it out on yesterday's prep.
What did they say?
They like it. They like it. So we're gonna live that to the end.
Okay.
Like this is kind of how you would do it, but kind of pearls at the end. Like, and I had a couple. Maria had a few more good ones, and then also I want to say it was Ashley. I'm not sure who made some email templates, some tools that's gonna be given to whoever it goes.
Wow.
So that way they go back home with some tools.
It wasn't Brad?
I don't know who made him. They were
No, that sounds like Ashley would have made him.
I have no idea. I don't want to take credit away from anybody.
What did Brad and Shintan contribute? They have
But they
lots
have,
of experience escalating.
yeah. What? So what would happen is I think Maria will like debrief everything, and then we're gonna go in different pathways, and then the side owners, in this case us three, will like give examples and or ideas and stuff like that. We'll involve.
But you got plenty, man.
Yeah. Well, I brought one good one up that I kind of don't want to spoil it here, but it's in a nutshell, when you're asked to do stuff to close out a study a couple years after they're like being MIA.
We've had that.
So that's I'll
We had
elaborate.
that situation.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna elaborate on that one
Okay.
during the workshop. So it's at the end of the day, it's communication. At the end of the day, it's communications. We don't think the same, but the protocol is the protocol. At the end of the day, unfortunately, sometimes protocols leave some room to like speculate, if you will. You know, that's not white and black. There's some gray area there.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that happens, and
Especially when they put things like in the investigator's opinion,
yeah.
where it's like, okay, well, now you just opened up possibilities.
Yeah, and then if the investigator thinks it's okay, but then the medical monitor
Yeah.
does not think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, where do we go
Yeah.
here from there? I want to say, fortunately, besides what you mentioned earlier about about the vendor, I don't think we have had issues like where we got in arguments or disputes.
That was really the only one, was because we've had issues like any other site with the labs are a pain in the ass, or
the escalating part.
or the drug, or like switching the dose in the middle of the study, and it wasn't clear how to measure it, and you're basically letting untrained staff do that. Like, I wasn't okay with that. I remember I was helicoptering the MAs, who were the unblinded pharmacists, and you were too, but I mean, like, you're not even really supposed to, but it's like, well, I'm not going to let this person dose someone when it's like very complicated. I don't even sure I understand it.
Yeah.
You know, I remember that clearly. Like, that was not a well-designed study.
No, but the good thing is the MAs, they the training they got, it kind of guide them.
Well, there was one that was sharp, you know.
Yeah.
He's an RN now, and the other one,
Not so
by the grace of God, probably. The only issues we had are documentation ones.
Yeah, and
I remember seeing her with a whiteout, and I was like, no. I said, okay, I can't get mad because I never told you, but like, you cannot use whiteout on these forms.
So you just cross it out.
I said, oh, well, this person said, no, this is not like a private practice where you do whatever you want. This is the monitors. They're going to look at what are you doing with whiteout?
Yeah.
You know, that was like a couple horror stories there, but we haven't had anything too crazy.
No, and again, it I think it comes from the experience you have, in the sense that you know kind of how and whom to escalate with.
Yeah,
You know, and we always give the opportunity to the person first to try to fix it.
Yeah.
And then if we don't, and most of the time it gets solved right there, so it doesn't
Most
need
of the
an
time it
escalation.
does. Well, on the panel I'm on, where we're talking with sponsors, and they're talking about what makes a dream site. You know, what they actually said is, we prefer sites to communicate.
Of course.
And we don't necessarily prefer they go over the head of their monitor, or like, we want them to follow the chain of command. But if there's issues, then we do want to hear from them.
Yeah.
So when I escalated, I did do that. I brought it up to monitors and stuff, and I wasn't getting the answers I felt we should. So I did go over everyone's head to like the top.
I remember
exec.
that. But man, you got an answer like
Well, I'm
within
sure
the
that
same day.
CRO got morning emails. Like, there's no way we were a green site for that CRO after that. There,
And think about it, we never got a study from that CRO again. Like if we really, I know.
I don't know if that's true. Yeah.
I don't think from that CRO.
The one, and that was the same CRO that went missing and came back like a year and a half later.
Yeah.
They're just different teams.
Yep. Exactly.
I think we've been offered from them though, so I don't think we're like on their blacklist. But
I think we solved the issue they wanted us to solve like years later.
yeah,
And I think they were happy with our answers.
yeah. So they're probably okay on the other study.
And they
that
were
we
very
did.
happy with that particular study, which was a different one, right?
Yeah, so I think we're okay with them.
Yeah.
I have to think now. I think I saw some surveys, but the thing is, I don't do the surveys anymore.
Didn't the guy said he would give us studies?
Yeah,
Well, let's reach back to him.
we can. I think that
But
one's
that
almost
was
closed
that
out.
was a unique case, very unique case where they asked you to do something. We thought that was the study was like done.
I mean, I knew when they would come back. I already had in my head, when they come back, you ask for more money, because there's no way you're gonna get away with not paying us for everything we did.
Yeah, and they owed money too.
I think they actually paid us more than what we were owed.
Yeah.
So it worked out well. But yeah, Escalate is good. Dream site, don't be afraid to do it, I guess. But I would say don't do it just for anything. You don't want to go over your monitor's head. You don't want to. One of the panel, I'm on too many, so I can't remember. Well, I'm not none, but I'm like directing, I don't know, like 4. I can't even remember. One of them, they said that don't be afraid if you notice your CRA is not competent. Don't be afraid to tell the sponsor, I don't feel comfortable with this CRA, because they're going to miss. Their job is to catch what we miss. Yeah. And if they're not competent, I'm afraid of FDA, patient safety.
Yeah.
They said, don't be afraid. I think this was a sponsor or a CRO that actually said this.
Yeah, and I mean, we lived that.
I genuinely don't do that. I'm not a dick to the monitors, but
yeah.
sometimes they're dicks to our staff, and then I have to get involved, which happened once. It was not entirely our fault, although we could have done better, of course.
Of course.
But she was being a little extra, so we did defend ourselves to the sponsor, and the sponsor took note and said, okay, I see it's like both parties are to blame a little. It's not just the site, like the CRA says, and it's not just and I told the sponsor, we're not without blame, but it's unreasonable. Look at the proof. And then she got involved.
Yeah.
And I think in that case, it was a good example of, I didn't bring it up, complain about monitor, until she started complaining
about us
excessively about our staff.
And it was irrational, it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, it was clear that person was burnt out and was in panic mode, and her tool for that was bombard the site all of a sudden, like
push the blame somewhere else.
Yeah,
a little bit away from me.
And the combo with our coordinator that was not the most proactive, which I told the sponsor, but I said that's still not a reason for your CRA to last minute or to email at midnight and then at 8 a.m. follow up, why are you not responding? I told the sponsor that's not reasonable time to reply. Which, I mean, sites you can speak up, I think that's the point, but don't do it all the time. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not on any panels this year because I would confuse people, but it's good for them to hear from people, not me, they hear from me on the pod plenty. So it's good. More reasonable folks. Brad seems fairly reasonable. I don't think he complains very much. You, Chintan, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think it's a good panel. It's a good workshop. It's a good learning, and that's at the end of the day, people or that go to SOS. That's kind of what they want to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not an isolated problem. It's not a
No.
unique problem to just one side. I think every side goes through it, and especially if it's a small side owned by whomever's working,
Mom and
here.
pops.
Yeah, so it's more challenging, if you will.
The one who said don't be afraid to push back on the sponsor if your CRA is incompetent is on the FDA panel
Oh, there you go.
by a senior CRA who has been through dozens of FDA audits. And she says one of the biggest findings during FDA audits, besides lack of PI oversight, which is obvious, is lack of adequate monitoring.
And you can see it. Like, we have a very good monitor, and learning from our mistakes. I always tell the monitors, hey, if there's anything you need to be done and it's not getting done, let me know.
Yeah.
And this guy is like, hey, Jaime, this is going on. And I appreciate that, because that's
He
the
used
only
to let me know too.
Yeah, he sees you on every email
Yeah.
on that. But he's very good.
Well, he used to text me when I was more involved, like, hey, you guys are approaching high end roller.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that's when I told him, hey, slow down for like a month.
Yeah. So he's very good, and he catches little things, and he's awesome. And then we seen the other ones that are like getting everybody in trouble at the end. It's like, wow, what a big difference.
What a change, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is to avoid those stuff, and I mean that might be a whole different panel in itself. Is the QA, is the QA that we implemented. I don't think Dan got in contact with someone that it's awesome at QA, and she catches all sorts of things too.
Yeah.
And keep us on our toes, right? So that's kind of what we need, especially when the owners, it's you want to have peace of mind that what's going on, it's flowing good without you in there. That that your staff don't need a babysitter to be there to make sure they do their job right, or not just they do their job, they do their job right.
They do it right, and they do it well.
Accurate, concise.
Well, just to wrap up this with two more escalation examples from my past. Both of these were not from Yuma clinical trials, but before. In one case, and these were both when I escalated. In one case, we had a monitor, and I was not a coordinator. I was the site owner, like today. Rosario. Well, you met her?
I don't think I met her.
No, okay. She'll be in San Diego. She was the coordinator for San Bernardino site. And then before that, my Anaheim site. And now she's... Well, we just sold that building, and I think she's working for another site. But she's not a unpleasant person. She's introvert, like doesn't talk too much. But when you do, she doesn't argue. She's very pleasant, like humble. So no monitor ever has issues with her other than the usual, like, oh, well, enter data faster, whatever. We had this one monitor. Now this lady... I'm telling you, man, there was something wrong with her. Mentally, she should not have been a monitor.
Oh, wow. For a psych study at that, huh?
Yeah, but then I ran into her at another site for a GI.
Okay.
When I was monitoring, I ran into her. Dude, this lady is, I don't know, hope she's not monitoring anymore. Every site, that site that I was monitoring at complained about her too. So I knew it was not just us. She made Rosario cry on multiple occasions.
Oh, wow.
She accused her of backdating a consent form. She accused her of, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. And what she would do, she was like this borderline personality person because she would find something. You go to any site, you're going to find something. She would find that thing and she would use that as evidence for her bigger accusations. So you kind of have to admit, yeah, there's a mistake. And then you have a weaker defense on her other accusations. So I got involved and I said, "What you can't, I don't care what we did. I know we're not doing fraud. I'm the owner. So I don't care what we did. It should not have my staff crying. Period." And I closed the door and sat down with her. And she's like, "Well, you have all these things and you're the owner and yeah, this is not okay." Like she was hostile. So I was like, okay, I see why she's got with staff crying. This lady's crazy.
Yeah, the issues.
So I said, "Listen, put it all in an email. I'm not gonna have my staff deal with you anymore. You deal with me with all your issues. And I'm gonna talk to the sponsor." So I called the sponsor after a while. They replied. I said, "Listen, we need," and this was 2015, 2014. There was not so site-centric back then, like today. They replaced her. The problem is they replaced her with somebody even worse, like almost as punishment for escalation.
Wow.
And it was the CRO I called, not the sponsor. This new person didn't make anyone cry. He was very professional, but you did not want this guy monitoring you. It was like an audit every time. It would have been better keeping that crazy lady.
Wow.
So we learned, like, listen, you could push back, but it's almost, I felt, intentional. If you really cared about the site, you would send somebody like nice next, right?
Yeah.
Not a worse person. And that guy was super professional. Nobody cried. But, man, it was a living hell when he monitored.
Wow.
And even the Rosario was like, it was better off when...
I'd rather cry.
So I learned that. And another time, we weren't getting paid, and it was ridiculous. The sponsors are much better at paying now, even CROs. But this was a decade or more ago. We weren't getting paid. I'm like, what's going on? The contract's every month. And it's been like 10 months, 11 months. No one's replying to emails. So I told the monitor, I said, nothing against you. You can't come here anymore until we get paid. And like all of it. And it's not against you. I'm sorry. You're going to have to struggle in your job. You better tell somebody. Because no one's telling me anything.
Wow.
You know what happened? A week later?
You got paid.
By FedEx overnight. They usually sent the checks by mail.
Yeah.
This was FedEx overnight. Everything. And then somebody emailed me and said, can they come back and monitor? Escalation. You can't come anymore.
Wow.
That's why I say to the sites, don't close out when they ask you PI to sign the EDC. If you're behind on payment, don't do it. Because if the PI signs the EDC, it's over. They don't really need you anymore. My PI won't sign anything till we get paid. But they've gotten way better. So
I don't.
we haven't had issues with
Except for the 2 years after,
yeah.
right? But that's the only one.
That was the exception, and I knew going into it that would be a risk. But we got reassurances that we would be taken care of first, and we were.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken that study.
I see.
I even told that person.
Yeah.
I said, I'm breaking a lot of my rules to take this study. Not publicly traded, foreign company, never heard of.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
And he kept his word. I mean, we got.
Yeah. For sure.
Until he moved on. Yeah. And then he couldn't really influence it anymore. So that's when we stopped. But then we really did all the work already.
Yeah. It's minor things from what you and Katie said. It was like what was missing was very minor.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't like a lot of.
Katie was complaining because they were asking like, a lot of ticky tack. Like this CV is hard to read and blurry. But yeah, I think we took care of it. Yeah. But yeah, that's Escalation. I had to sit down to monitor once before too. At another site, another crying coordinator.
Oh wow.
Not Rosario. But this one, the coordinator kind of was a little emotional. So I went in there. I told her to leave. I went in the room. I told the monitor, I said, listen, again, I closed the door. I said, I don't know what's going on. I don't care, honestly. But, like, I can't have my staff crying. Like, I could get sued. If I don't take care of her when she's telling me she's being harassed by you, I can get in trouble. And I said, do you want me to get in trouble by your actions? He's like, no, that's not the point. But I look at this. I said, listen, I don't care about you send me that later. But, like, you can't have you having her cry. So we talked for like half an hour. A week later or 2 weeks later, he called me and he said, listen, my CRO is having layoffs. Do you guys need someone to help at your site? So I was like, okay, well, that's where the stress was coming from. You know, I knew my coordinator is not going to cry for, like, she's not all there either, but she's not going to cry like, she doesn't cry for anyone else. Why should she cry for you? And he's like, yeah, you know, I've been going through a lot and this and that. So I didn't escalate that one, but I did tell him if you don't
that's
change.
The escalation. That's a bird.
Escalation was one-on-one with him.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to go to your boss. I've done it before I used the other monitor as an example. I don't think you're an asshole like that, but I'm not going to go to your boss, but I'm going to tell you straight up, like, I have to do something. If my coordinator come to me in tears, and I wasn't even that cool with that coordinator, like I usually am with our staff. That was like one that you want to like kind of be careful with. You know the type.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to take this seriously. And he's 2 weeks later say, yeah, kind of need a job.
Did you hire that person?
Hell no. Hell, I mean, first of all, it'd be way too expensive. And second of all, you can't handle stress. Like I saw firsthand what you do, how you work well with others is not good.
Yeah.
So that was a mini escalation, but those are my most dramatic examples in 20 years. So it's not that often.
It's not that frequent. Normally, everybody wants to do their job. They want to stay out of trouble. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't want their names being brought up on the higher ups, you know.
Yeah.
So that's normally everybody, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you do, especially if it's for safety reasons, you better do it.
That's what they said on our FDA panel.
If it's for a safety reason, you got to do it.
You got to speak up if you see incompetence. Oh, and another thing with the guy, when I sat down with him in that room, in the beginning, I said, because I was mad too. I said, he was starting to argue with me in the first like 2 minutes I went in the room. And I said, can I have your manager's phone number? Who's your manager? And then he's like, well, why do you want it? You already have it. Because he's trying to say, I don't know where the reg binder is. And you already have it if you want to. I said, well, I want you to give who you report to. Or are you going to make me look for it? I'll go look for it and get more mad. And then he started talking. And then at the end, when we squashed it, he said, do you still want my manager number? I said, no. You're good. Just you can't be acting this way here.
Yeah.
And so there's times to speak up and there's times not to. But again, in 20 years, to only have like 5 or 6 examples is not that crazy. Yeah. And they're getting way better. Yeah. The monitors are professional now. We haven't had any coordinator cry in 5 years at Yuma. Which
not for a monitor.
Not for a monitor. We've had crying, but yeah, not for a monitor, which is a big improvement, I think.
I remember when we first started, you would tell me, "Oh no, some monitors are very mean, some monitors."
Yeah.
And now I kind of got into the business thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna have some mean monitors, and so far so good.
They've changed them because I think technology is taking care of the policing part. and in more so. And what you really need from them is somebody to cooperate with you to get things done. Whereas before, you needed the policing, and the tech wasn't capable.
Yeah.
I think the tech is getting capable, and so you really need the cooperation.
Yeah.
Back then, it was you needed more policing, less cooperation,
I see.
and so it was less pleasant back in the day. But yeah,
Awesome.
that's it, man. You're gonna have a great panel. The sub-by said it was okay. No, the sub-by said it was fine.
It's fine.
Today's date is fine, and trust me, I'm the PI. I mean, it's not Brad Hightower level, but it's good enough. Get them while they're hot. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, if you guys like that kind of content, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Stay tuned for more videos.